Hello and welcome to ACJ Dialogue, a conversation that informs and inspires. Now, in times when a certain section of the Congress is questioning its leadership and recalibrating its very structure, who better than one of the top congressmen of the country to talk about the situation of the Congress? Former External Affairs Minister and veteran Congress leader Salman Khurshid joining me. Thank you, Mr. Khurshid, for talking to us. Let me address the elephant in the room right at the beginning. Do you think you've let the people down, your party has let the people down by repeating the same set of events at the CWC meet? Because after the sort of crushing defeat at the polls, people were really expecting a sort of radical and swift change in the party, both in its leadership and otherwise.
Well, that's an interesting conundrum. I was on the ground, and we realized, for a variety of reasons, not all of which were objectionable reasons from our point of view, we were not getting support in these elections. But I certainly didn't get an impression that we were not getting support because people wanted us to change our leaders. Certainly didn't get that feeling. And then in post-election results period, when these questions have been raised by the media, by various people, some people perhaps even in our party, the workers' mood that could be judged by whoever went into the working committee, past the workers who were all outside rallying for the real leadership, the workers' mood was certainly not in favor of change of leadership. The answer today doesn't lie in change of leadership. I think we need to look at the historical context and the peculiar context in which Indian politics has taken various paths that it has taken. And it wouldn't lead to that necessary conclusion. But that's how it is. And then to be able to say that people are being betrayed or let down is not our impression. I think solidarity, determination, greater effort, and certainly vastly improved communications, which includes the idea itself and the ability to transmit that idea. I think those are all issues. And that's the reason why I went into a session very soon after elections, after Parliament session is over.
But Mr. Khurshid, your claim that it's not the party's leadership which is at fault, is it consistent with the mandate? Because under the leadership of Priyanka Gandhi, you've seen your worst defeat. I mean, 2 seats in Uttar Pradesh. So don't you think it is because the leadership has not been able to consolidate the youth cadre and the party workers?
You just need to understand what has happened in the election before you can come to such conclusions. But be that as it may, I will answer that in a moment. Be that as it may, there has been not a defeat of our kind, but there has been a defeat for Samajwadi Party. They were walking tall as though they were winning this election. They've lost, and they've lost second time in a row. They've lost after having been in government for 5 years. Nobody's asked for change of leadership there. Nobody's asked for change in leadership of Mayawati, and nobody has said that Akhilesh and Mayawati are incapable leaders. Nobody said that. Now, why is there a different formula for the Congress and a different formula for them? That's one question. Secondly, no matter who the leader was, if we had Hercules in Uttar Pradesh, even if we had Hercules, the result would not have been different, is my understanding, as far as the ground reality is. All that happened in Uttar Pradesh, whether it was induced, whether it was provoked, or it was pushed, but all that happened in Uttar Pradesh was that the entire Muslim vote shifted for the purpose of defeating the BJP, ostensibly shifted to Samajwadi Party. And that's how Samajwadi Party increased its tally by 10%. But that was not good enough to to oust the BJP. That's very, very clear. Now, if this is going to happen, why should we inflict insult over injury by saying that our leadership has failed and therefore we should change our leadership?
Right, but at least there's an acknowledgement that the Congress has lost mass connect, and that is both because of sort of lack of ideological resonance, and at the same time, not having enough organizational muscle or machinery on ground. So at least there is that acknowledgement, is what I sense from your answer.
I have to acknowledge, I can hardly say that I congratulate myself for a remarkable performance. I can hardly say that. But to say that there's a lack of connect, every time you lose an election, there's a lack of connect, surely there's a lack of connect. Do we say that in the United States of America, there was a lack of connect of the Conservative Party with the people of the United States of America? So President Biden won his election. Was there a lack of connect? Or that the connect was not good enough to get them to win an election? These are two different things that you say. Lack of connect, and that the connect was not enough to get you to win, because there are a variety of factors that play a role in winning and losing an election. So also the second item that you spoke of ground organization. What ground organization must have there been for Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab? They were a newish party. They certainly had a buzz, and they had the right conditions for winning an election, because people wanted to move away from established parties. That was clear, and so they won. But they didn't win because they necessarily had a better organization. Having said that, I know that the organization is important and must be there. And for 2 years, our General Secretary, Priyanka Gandhi, actually worked very hard on the organization. And I'm sure that now she will take a fresh look at what structure was created and perhaps make further changes. But to say that there was no organization, I think is perhaps an overstatement.
Right. It's interesting that you talked about the Aam Aadmi Party, because now, I mean, my last question to you now would be that do you think there would be newer players like the Aam Aadmi Party who would now be eyeing for the sort of focal position or the fulcrum of the opposition? And that is one position that the Congress will now have to sort of leave, because there are these newer players. Now, the Aam Aadmi Party has managed 2 states in 5 years.
Well, states are not enough. No, you have to have something at the center as well. But they don't have, as yet they don't have. We still are the largest party in parliament. And with being the largest party in parliament, the starting point must be the largest party in parliament, which doesn't mean that we become arrogant. That doesn't mean that we say that we don't need anybody's help, that we don't need anybody's support, or that we are unwilling to support others, etc. There has to be a give and take. There has to be a sound and sensible, objective negotiation to find what is the best possible combination for 2024. It's a little bit early, but we can't wait indefinitely. It's a little bit early, but I hope that over the next few weeks we will see some movement from different sides to see if we can put together a combination that would be arguably and a persuasive combination to fight the BJP.
Salman Khurshid, thank you so much for talking to us. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.